1, 0. Hey everybody, Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich here. Thanks for joining me tonight. We're going to do a quick little update on the remnants of Nicole. Real interesting setup here. Normally with a setup like this, we would be really concerned about the potential for real heavy rain and strong winds with the remnants, and we're going to see some of that. But I'll be honest with you, I think the bigger threat with this system, outside of the mountains, if you're in the mountains watching, this is not to discount the flood threat there because I think that's legitimate. But because we're in a drought, a lot of this rain we're going to be able to handle. It's these storms right here. You see these offshore? Those are cloud to ground lightning strikes out there. Those bands, while not as heavy as the rain you see right here, are the ones that have me more worried because the potential is there that we're going to see some rotation in those cells. And you can see there's some embedded supercells in there already rotating inland. Now, Panthers game, I've been watching. It's been raining pretty much the whole time, very lightly though. And just in the last like 20 minutes of the game that it really picked up. There's just been waves of light rain. It's like when it's not raining, it's still raining. It's kind of drizzle and mist. So I'll go in closer and show you. There's a heavy band over uptown now and some more light rain. But again, no tremendous downpours, and the winds so far haven't been horrible. I did want to show you where their tornado watch is up for the coast. And this is what we'll be watching overnight into the morning hours. When I mean overnight, I'm really talking about after 3 or 4 in the morning. This is where the tornado risk is tonight. And I think this is going to shift up into this direction into central and eastern North Carolina as we go through the day tomorrow as the system gets up here. Now, I would show you the track of the storm, but there's not much to show you. We're just going to be tracking basically the remnant low, but I will bring up the Hurricane Center cone just because people are used to looking at it. Winds are down to 40 miles per hour, so it's about to become a tropical depression. In fact, it will weaken as a tropical depression and become just an extra tropical low over the Western Carolinas by 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Flood threat real quickly, we'll talk about that. That is for the mountains and foothills. That is a flash flood watch, which is up obviously through tomorrow night. But the severe weather risk, I just talked about that tornado watch. You could see where the tornado risk is right now. The area in orange is really primarily where the tornado risk is tonight. The low area is just kind of an overflow area. And then tomorrow, you can see the setup here. So this is, typically when we show you severe weather outlook, it's going to be about hail, wind, or tornadoes. This is primarily tornadoes. And just to show you what I mean by that, the tornado outlook pretty much mirrors exactly the impact area for severe weather. And again, this is a chance of seeing a tornado within 25 miles of any point on the map. Tonight, it's pretty low until about 3 in the morning. After 3 in the morning, we'll start to see this shift up here. So I think we'll be okay until about 3, 4 in the morning because it's going to take a while for the instability, obviously, to get up in here and cause some of those isolated supercells to kind of get in there. Now, oftentimes when you see these chances of tornadoes, people will say, well, that's a really low chance, Brad. You can't really relate it to rain because this isn't the chance of getting a few drops in your head without an umbrella. This is the chance of a tornado. And on any given day, the chance of a tornado is pretty close to 0. So 2% is 2 times higher than a normal day, and 5% is 5 times higher. So that's pretty significant when you compare it to what the normal day is. You can't really compare it to rain chances. So let's look at the future cast here. We'll show you the bands of rain moving in from the south and east. And I'm going to stop this about 3 o'clock in the morning. We'll stop it right about here. This is when we'll probably start to see the first batch of warmer air start to surge in here. And that will be the key. If that warm air gets in here, then these lines of showers and storms potentially could start to rotate. So we get towards about 4 or 5 in the morning. You see this band coming up 5, 6 in the morning. This is one we're going to have to watch because right in here, I think this is one. And look at the time frame, about 5 a.m. So if we're going to see something spin up tonight, it's really more in the morning. I know depending on how your perspective is, I'm a night person, so that's morning to me. But for a lot of folks, that might be overnight. You could see that little batch moving across, and look at that 6 a.m. And again, see those little cells in there? Those are the ones, these little bad boys right here. Those are the ones you got to watch out for possible rotation. There's 7 to 8 a.m. Then there's likely going to be a lull mid to late morning, and then we're going to see this next wave move in after lunchtime, and then that one potentially could have some rotation in it as well. That's the main batch of rain moving in. I'm going to show you a different view of this, kind of the wider, a little bit different view with the streamlines on here. The streamlines show you the wind flow. Same thing, shows that little batch moving through mid to late morning, and then a lull, and then here comes the main batch around the middle of the day. And notice how the wind shifts. Notice here, the winds are coming from the east. If you want to know when the severe weather is going to happen, East wind is not necessarily a bad flow. Northeast is cool. When the wind comes from the southeast or the south, that's when you know the warm, humid air is moving in. Why is that important? Well, the warm, humid air is the instability needed for these storms to start becoming severe. So you notice right around 4 a.m., notice the wind shift there. So that little line there moving through Southern Pines, Albemarle, and then into tomorrow, that wind's out of the south. So the temperature starts shooting up, and that's likely when we're going to see the potential for isolated tornadoes. Now, one of the things I look at often, and I show this quite a bit, is the tornado parameter. This is basically the ingredients for tornadoes. I'll stop this at about 2, 3 in the morning. You start to notice some of these totals going up, but it's really, you know, this time frame, I'm thinking closer to 6, 7 o'clock. You see maybe a 0.5 in Charlotte. I mean, that's not super high, but you kind of get the idea. That's not high. In the springtime, I'd be like, that's not a big deal, but there's so much shear in the atmosphere that we don't need a ton of those ingredients. The atmosphere is going to help us out. And the rotational tracks tell you a lot as well about, you know, what storms could rotate. There's a couple in there, you know, that line moving through between 5, 6, 7 a.m. Yeah, there's a few of those that'll be rotating briefly. And the thing about tropical tornadoes, they spin up very quickly and they're gone quickly. So these are really the worst thing to warn for, because they just pop up so dang quickly and they're in and out of here, you know, before you know it. So let me show you the timing of all this. This is a graphic I love sharing with people to kind of show you the setup there. So you get the idea there. You know, starting about 2 to 4 a.m., we'll start to see a severe weather risk, and then the threat for severe weather goes down. Now, I haven't even talked about the wind, because it's obviously a tropical system and people immediately will think about wind. There is going to be some wind, but not as much as you might think. Tonight we've seen, these are the gusts, by the way, not sustained. Northeast winds around 20 to 25, and that's the same story through the morning. Now, when we see the winds pick up, it's actually as the main circulation and that band gets here tomorrow afternoon. If you look carefully, the winds out of the south here, this is the highest wind gusts, getting close to 30 to 35. That's why I said overall I'm not super concerned with the strong winds, because this isn't the type of wind that's going to be high enough to usually bring trees down. And the fact that we're in the fall and most of the leaves are either off or falling means there's less surface area for the wind to push on. And that's a good sign, because that means it's harder to push trees over. But if you saturate the soils enough, you can get some of the trees to come down. You can see as the winds shift around to the northwest, everything moves out of here. Now the rain is not something to scoff at completely, especially if you're in the mountains and foothills. I'm going to show you the 7-day rainfall forecast, which is pretty much encompassing this rain. But you can see those totals in the mountains. Those are impressive, because for a while tonight and early tomorrow, we're going to have northeast wind or southeast winds intersecting the mountains there, and that will lift the air and create a lot of heavy rain there, which eventually could cause some flash flooding. So before I go, and people want to get back to the game here in a minute, I wanted to do something real quick. I'm actually going to do this live as I'm talking to you, just to show you them live. I'm going to add the temperatures in here, because I think it's important to kind of show you the temperatures overnight. So let me stop that right there. Hopefully that's going out. I'm editing this. You guys can't see it, but you will in a minute. So bear with me as I edit this in real time. So I threw the temperatures on our future cast, because I wanted to show you how the temperatures actually, you see it's 70 degrees in Sherall right now. Is it actually 70 degrees? Let's look at the real-time temperatures, because this will kind of tell you. These are the current temperatures. That's actually a forecast temperature. So yeah, it's close to 70. So what I'm watching is the warmer air is starting to surge in from the south. And why is that important? Well, if you miss the top of the stream, the warm air is the fuel for storms. If we get into the warm air sector, then you start getting more worried about stronger storms moving in. Dew points are as well, because it's not just warm air, it's humid air. And yeah, boy, dew points are shooting up into the 60s here. So that's kind of where the humid air is right now. That's why I wanted to throw them on the future cast, because it'll help show us how the warm air and the radar overlap. So we'll go through time, and I'm going to stop this again at 2 or 3 in the morning. So we'll stop this at 2 a.m. And you can see down here, we might have to watch these storms, because notice the temperatures are in the 70s. We're actually going up close to 70. And I do expect this tonight. The temperature will go up overnight as the warm air surges in. It switches to the south. Look at 4 a.m. The temperature jumps up to 70. Now you know you're in that hot, humid air mass. So yeah, this line here, yeah, we got to watch that for rotation. So any storms that form in the warmer, humid air, now you're in that warm sector, which is the sector of the atmosphere where you can get severe storms. We go into the morning hours, upper 60s. We're back in the 70s. Man, look at that, almost pushing 80. If the sun comes out there, watch out. So midday tomorrow could be really interesting as this main line moves through. There's the main batch around 4 o'clock. big burst of rain. We might even see some minor flash flooding there. That's probably the flood threat is going to be right in here, middle of the day tomorrow. And then we go into the future tomorrow night. The low shifts to the northeast. Temperatures start to fall. The winds shift to the northwest. And that's when cooler, drier air moves in. Marathon runners, Saturday morning, 50s, not too bad, climbing into the 60s. Saturday, reinforcing shot of cold air from the cold front here comes blasting through. And yeah, there could be even a little bit of mountain snow going into Sunday morning. And here comes the cold air for Sunday morning. So that should give you a really good idea right there of the evolution of that. So if you're looking for a time frame, charge those phones up. 3, 4 in the morning would be the first threats we could see. And as always, I tell people this all the time during severe weather season. I think this is really important for overnight events. Everybody, your smartphone is going to be your friend here tonight. Make sure it is fully charged up. Make sure you have the volume on. Everything's turned on. You have to crank it, but loud enough it's going to wake you up. Maybe keep it plugged in and charged. Have at least 3 ways to get warnings. Those wireless emergency alerts are built into your phone. Our app will send you alerts. You can be watching TV or a live stream, which most of you will get up and probably go right to that. Social media, what you're doing right now, watching a stream on various social media platforms. No weather radio. If you don't have one, don't worry about it. That won't be what you can do tonight. And family and friends. If you get up and you know there's a tornado warning, you get it, and you think your family or friends don't get it, text them and call them. Spread the word. It works really well in these situations. So again, we'll go back to the forecast, or the current conditions one more time. Here's the satellite and radar together. The circulation is now moving into southern Georgia. These rain bands that you see coming up through Georgia, South Carolina, those are the ones we're going to watch because we've already got a tornado watch to the southeast of us. And overnight tonight, I do expect that severe weather risk, which is currently in that area where the tornado watch is, will move up here during the day tomorrow. As far as timing, again, just from a timing standpoint, I'll quickly go back to this graphic. Those strong storms probably start to enter after 3 a.m. right there. We've got to keep an eye on those. And then going into the 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning time frame. That's it for now. I will post updates throughout the night if things do change. And of course, first thing tomorrow morning, we've got crews ready to go. And we'll keep you safe. Stay weather aware, please, because this is one of those nights where we could get fast-moving, quick spin-up tornadoes. Will it be a big outbreak? Probably not. But the timing is not great. It's November, early in the morning. It doesn't feel like tropical until that warm air moves in that you see right there. And that's when we'll start to see some of the severe weather risk move into the area. So be safe tonight. Stay weather aware. We'll have complete coverage coming up tonight at 11 on WCNC. You can stream that as well on our app, on Roku, on Amazon. We'll have complete coverage.